The White House's official stance on the mysterious drone flights over New Jersey is that they are nothing. Cases of mistaken identity and mass hysteria. They're nothing but planes, stars, satellites, and lawfully operated drones. If that's the case, then why did the FAA announce today hundreds of square miles of airspace over New Jersey is suddenly closed for mysterious security reasons? We're going to break it down. I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so this is a really interesting story. Sorry again, guys, two little admin notes. First, sorry, the quality of the video has taken a little bit of a hit. I'm traveling, but I'm still trying to cover these breaking stories, so I'm on sort of my travel recording setup. But more importantly, if you want to support the channel and think I'm putting out legitimate information and analysis, you want to hit that subscribe button. It helps tell YouTube that I'm not one of the crazy conspiracy theorists. Okay, so according to the FAA, just today, they've issued flight restrictions after concerns were raised by one of the New Jersey power companies. This is, of course, the Federal Aviation Commission, who issued drone flight restrictions in 22 new towns in New Jersey. This was prompted, they said, by concerns by PSE&G. This is the power generation and distribution company within the state of New Jersey. And again, the Representative Chris Smith from New Jersey, following a briefing on Thursday, said, quote, "It begs the question for something that they keep saying is nothing nefarious here. They seem to have some serious concerns about our power infrastructure." Now, none of those bans include the Jersey Shore, whose utility grid is covered by a different company. But Smith said at the briefing the new restrictions and additional bans have been requested by what he said were unnamed agencies, or new restrictions and additional bans are requested by what he said were unnamed agencies, right? And he said, "I hope they do it sooner rather than later than leave another power grid at risk." And this is a very interesting drop because, again, they are very tight bans. Drone flights within a 1 mile nautical radius of designated areas. And what they're listed as, quote, special security reasons in northern and western New Jersey. But none, of course, it says are along the shore, right? Now, this is really interesting for a bunch of reasons. But before we talk about sort of what I think is really going on here, I wanted to mention, first off, you should definitely check out some StrikeGum. What is StrikeGum? StrikeGum is my energy gum, right? This isn't a sponsor. This is my company. We're made in the USA, 90 milligrams caffeine in each individual piece. If you're somebody who's been drinking energy drinks at $5 a pop, loaded with sugar, you need to really bring your energy into the 21st century, right? It's not 2006 anymore. You need a better alternative, and StrikeGum is just that. We're available on Amazon or on StrikeGum.com, so click the link in the description. Okay, so here's what I thought was interesting. First off, here's the FAA's website depicting a huge number of newly implemented bans. And the overall reason is listed as security, right? The same reason that Picatinny Arsenal, New Jersey, was also listed as a no-go zone several weeks ago. Which again, weird because the government said that again these were just routine, these were just mistaken identity, right? You can see here again, you've got this special security reasons. Security, temporary flight restriction for special security reasons. Right? And this, I think, is really interesting. It's going on for about a month. So there's some problems with this. One, first and foremost, you've got this situation where there's a narrow window, right? Let's say the FAA said, hey, this is just a precaution to protect all of our power infrastructure. Well, we would say, hey, then why don't we do it nationally, right? If that's the threat. And if they'd say, well, if it's just a precaution in general, well, why is it have a narrow 1 month window? And so this to me indicates that there is something else going on here. Now, again, it's not a secret that many military installations and other sensitive sites, this is something that even the White House has confirmed, have experienced drone flyovers, and that the U.S. military struggles to stop these drones in any kind of meaningful way. And they don't really have a great sense of the origins of these drones or who's operating them. And while in some cases they're able to trace the drones, these are usually one-off, right? An individual, oftentimes a Chinese national, that seems to be the norm, who flies a Radio Shack grade drone over top a sensitive military installation. Those people are quickly caught. The footage, of course, already is sent to the Chinese intelligence, but those individuals are caught and deported. And usually when they do this, they're near the end of their visas anyway. Oftentimes they finish their education and are just pending deportation, or pending the end of their visa. And so they're deported back to China, where they're welcomed as heroes, never to return to the United States again. Right? But those are like the amateur hour stuff. Someone is doing a professional job. And this is something that, again, even the White House has said when they put out their statement 2 days ago, they said, quote, or something to the effect of, civilian airspace has no known drone threats, which is a weird thing to say, because there are no drone threats. Just they're not a threat in civilian airspace, which implies that military airspace has a drone threat problem. And so this is the kind of thing that I think is why no one trusts what the White House says. Of course, the White House also has a bunch of a real problem with the truth in general, given their, concealing, for example, the president's cognitive decline. But when you look at these, you see that somebody in the feds believes that over the next month, what I think is actually happening, I don't think this is a new pending threat. I think what they've done is, and the feds have been honest about this, again, in order to detect those things that are absolutely not drones, they've brought in drone detection technology, highly sophisticated radar, electronic detectors, and if you are going to run those, what you want to do is avoid accidents. And so this is likely part of that. They're trying to say, listen, we want to make sure the canvas that we are deploying this radar in is as blank as possible. We want to minimize the amount of drone traffic. So we're saying, listen, everything that's below commercial flight height, we are just going to put the kibosh on. So that way, if we do see a drone, we know that it's operating illicitly. It's also possible that they're doing this in order to create a sort of perimeter that criminalizes drones that fly within them, right? Let's say, for example, right now the U.S. said, listen, who enforces sort of drone, let's say you were to fly in civilian airspace at night. It may be totally legal for these drones to do it. And that itself might be a problem. Because again, let's say you sit a few miles off of Naval Weapons Station Earl. You fly your drone up, and then you just have it hover there. You're in civilian airspace. You're operating an authorized drone in a lawful manner. But you're spying on a naval weapons facility. So the U.S. government may say, listen, what we're going to do is add a bunch of these little traps and say, we are going to find the people who operate these drones. They're going to accidentally fly into this restricted airspace, and then they'll have committed a violation that we can then bust them for, right? We can charge them with with violating a federal drone ban, and we can actually try to get to the bottom of this. Now, these are all sort of theories as to why this is taking place. Ultimately, though, to me, the thing to take away from this is the federal government on some level believes there is some kind of threat. Again, or not threat, but some kind of nefarious activity that they don't have full control over. Because remember, if these were U.S. government authorized flights, if there were real drones and they were operated by a government program, you wouldn't need to symbolically restrict this airspace, right? You would just sort of say, well, it's all mass hysteria. Don't worry about it. There's nothing going on here, which is not even quite what the White House said. So I'm going to keep you guys abreast of this story as it continues. Of course, a huge thank you to the Colonel Tier members. You guys know I'm fully independent. I don't take money from governments, media companies, and I rarely even take money from sponsors anymore. And that's because I have you guys. So thanks to James Sterling, Steve Moran, Doug Beck, Alan Knutson, Bastian Himling, Brian Kelly, Del McCombs, James Olaf, Henry Roos here, as well as all of our Lieutenant Tier members. Couldn't do it without you guys. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.